Ever find yourself stuck in traffic, staring at the clock during that endless 9 to 5, and just dreaming? You know that fantasy where you ditch the office, fire up the laptop, and actually pay the bills playing
Oh,
poker?
yeah, that's the dream for a lot of people.
It's his ultimate picture of freedom, right?
Huh.
But what we really need to dig into, based on everything we've looked at, is this. Can you actually make a steady, full-time living just from poker? Is that, realistic?
Okay, so short answer, yes, it is possible, but, and this is a huge but, it's absolutely nothing like you see in the movies. Forget the glamour.
Right. It's not all sunglasses indoors and mountains of chips.
Not at all. The successful pros, they all say the same thing. It's a grind. It's a total mental marathon. It takes serious skills, sure, but also incredible discipline, sharp strategy, and honestly, a really thick skin for the bad beats. The swings, they're brutal and they're guaranteed.
Okay, let's unpack that right away.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, tons of people chase this dream, but very, very few actually make it work long term. So let's dive into what it really takes. First, what are the absolute must-haves? The skills, the mindset. Then we can get into the money, the income, the risk, all that good stuff.
Sounds good, because you have to understand, this isn't about feeling lucky or having intuition. Success here means treating poker like a serious, demanding business.
Okay, starting with that foundation then. Our sources keep hammering this point.
Yeah.
Professional poker isn't about luck. It's skill, psychology, nerve. It's about grinding out that positive expected value, that EV, over thousands and thousands of hands.
That's the absolute core difference. If you want a job out of this, a real income, luck is your enemy. Discipline, that's everything. It fuels consistency.
So what does that discipline look like day to day?
It looks like a job, a tough one. Strict schedules, mandatory study time hours of it, and crucially, learning to control your emotions, avoiding that tilt that makes you bet recklessly after a bad beat.
And a huge part of that discipline is managing the money itself, right? Bankroll management. That seems to be the bright line between a pro and just a gambler.
It's the safety net. It's literally what keeps you in the game. If you're serious, you have to live by the golden rule, the 1 to 2% rule.
Explain that.
Simple, but hard to follow sometimes. Never, ever risk more than 1, maybe 2% of your entire dedicated poker bankroll in a single session or tournament buy-in.
Whoa, hang on. So if I've managed to build up, say, a $50,000 bankroll,
Yeah.
I should only be playing games where my absolute maximum risk for that session is $500 to $1,000. That sounds incredibly conservative, almost more restrictive than a normal job.
It is, and it has to be, because of variance, those inevitable losing streaks we talked about, break that 1-2% rule, and you're not just risking losing money.
You're risking going completely broke.
Exactly. Risking ruin, as they call it. Hitting a bad run, which will happen, could wipe you out entirely. This rule protects you from yourself when things go south. Folding a great hand because playing it would break that rule. That's professional discipline, that's survival.
Wow, okay. And beyond the money rules, there's the mental side. You called it a mental marathon. The sources really emphasize the stamina needed for those super long sessions, 8, 10, even 12 hours.
Yeah, the mental stamina is huge. It's what lets a pro keep making good decisions when everyone else at the table is getting tired or sloppy.
How do they manage that?
They actively work on it. Mandatory breaks away from the screen or table, strict diets sometimes, exercise routines. A lot of top players use meditation or mindfulness techniques, specifically to handle the stress and avoid tilt after taking a nasty loss.
Because losing focus means losing your edge.
Instantly. You stop calculating odds correctly, you miss tells, you make bad calls. You're basically just giving money away at that point.
You know, a name that comes up a lot as an example of doing this right is Fedor Holtz. His rise wasn't some overnight fluke.
Absolutely not. Holtz is a perfect example. His move to the highest stakes wasn't luck. It was relentless practice, super strict bankroll management, and constant deep study of game theory GTO and his opponents.
He treated it like becoming a world-class athlete.
Precisely. It requires that same level of dedication, that same intellectual rigor. You have to accept that level of commitment before you can even realistically think about the income potential.
Okay, let's go there now. The money. The big question everyone asks. How much can you actually make? This is where the picture gets really complex, doesn't it? High potential, but also high variability.
That's the crux of it. Yes, your skill determines your long-term potential, but the variability, It's intense. Even the world's best players have absolutely crushing downswings.
Let's define variance a bit more clearly. It's not
Mhm.
just a bad day, right?
No, variance is a mathematical reality. It means you need a massive sample size, sometimes hundreds of thousands, even millions of hands online, before your actual results reliably match your skill edge.
Yeah.
So, a pro has to be financially and mentally ready to lose potentially five, even six figures in a bad month,
Even while playing well.
even while playing near perfectly, knowing statistically they're still a winning player long term. It's a real head trip.
So that 1-2% bankroll rule isn't just about not going broke today.
Exactly. It's about buying you the time, the financial runway to play through those statistically guaranteed bad patches and let your skill edge actually materialize in your results.
Which brings us to the differences between playing online versus playing live. That changes the stability picture quite a bit.
Yeah, fundamentally, online poker means you can play way more hands per hour playing multiple tables at once.
So faster volume.
Right, which generally means, especially for solid mid-stakes players, that the variance cycles can be shorter. Your results might smooth out a bit quicker. The skills needed often lean more towards the theoretical, the GTO solvers.
And the bankroll needed for online.
For a decent mid-stakes online pro, maybe looking at meeting $50,000 or so, and you could expect maybe moderate stability if you put in the volume.
But live poker. Tournaments, cash games in a casino.
Yeah.
That's a different animal.
Totally different. Much higher variance, fewer hands per hour, obviously, and tournaments especially. Huge potential scores, yes, but incredibly unpredictable.
More about reading people. Psychology.
A lot more, yeah. Exploitative play, live tells, psychological battles play a much bigger role compared to just pure math online. You might win a massive tournament, six figures, easily, and then spend the next 9 months grinding cash games just to break even or cover travel costs.
And the data backs this up. Our sources compare the stability. Online mid-level gets a moderate stability rating. Live professional. High income potential, sure, but stability is rated low. What does low feel like in reality?
Low feels like huge, gut-wrenching swings. And needing a massive bankroll to ride them out, playing high-stakes live cash, you might need a bankroll starting at, say, $200,000, maybe more, because a single bad week, just one bad run of cards, could easily cost you tens of thousands.
The freedom isn't exactly free.
Not financially, no. The risk profile is way, way higher than most traditional jobs.
Which leads us to the big question. Can this really be a sustainable long-term career? Something you can, build a life around, raise a family on?
It can be. But you have to be brutally honest about the lifestyle. The pros are obvious: flexibility, independence, no boss, and yeah, potentially very high earnings, much higher than most standard careers if you reach the top.
Okay, but the cons list seems pretty heavy too. Especially the mental side we keep coming back to.
The mental burden is immense. First, that emotional roller coaster. Losing streaks aren't just annoying. They hit your wallet hard and they can seriously mess with your head.
Constantly questioning yourself.
Constantly. Second, the financial instability is just always there. Your income isn't guaranteed month to month or even year to year for some. And third, isolation. It's a big one. Sitting alone online for 50, 60 hours a week or living out of a suitcase chasing the live circuit. It puts a massive strain on relationships and your social life.
Okay, so given all those challenges, how do the ones who succeed make it sustainable? How do they turn it from a high-wire act into an actual profession? The sources seem to lay out some practical steps.
Yeah, there's a clear path for those who treat it professionally. It starts with data. Meticulous record keeping, number one. Track everything.
Not just wins and losses.
Oh, way beyond that. Track hands, strategies used, notes on opponents, your mental state during sessions, hourly win rates, losses per position. Everything. This data lets you find and plug leaks in your game way faster than just guessing.
So it's like running analytics on your own performance. Business metrics.
Exactly. And that rigor applies to learning, too. Step 2. Study like a pro. You can't just rest on what you know.
The game evolves too fast.
Incredibly fast. You need dedicated study time, off the tables. Running simulations in GTO software, analyzing hand history is yours, and tough opponents maybe even getting coaching. Continuous learning is totally non-negotiable. Stop learning, and the field just blows right past you.
And managing the mental game.
Yeah.
Staying sane during the swings.
That's step 3. Actively manage variance, which really means managing your emotions. Prioritize logical decisions based on long-term EV, not knee-jerk reactions to bad luck. You internalize that the long run is all that matters.
And connecting with others helps.
Definitely. Step 4 is build a network. Talk to other serious players, share insights, discuss tough hands, stay updated on strategy trends. You can't do this entirely in a vacuum.
Okay, and the final piece of advice,
Uh-huh.
probably the most crucial for anyone listening who's tempted.
Right. The fifth point, and maybe the most important, start as a side hustle.
Don't just quit your day job on a whim.
Please no. Never, ever quit your stable income until you have proven consistent profits over a very large sample size. We're talking at least 6 months, probably a year or more of solid winnings. And you need that dedicated bankroll fully funded, separate from your life expenses. Plus, you need to know you have the mental toughness.
So you can live off the winnings, but only if you've done all that prep work, managed the risk, built the skill obsessively.
Precisely. It's achievable, but the entry requirements are incredibly high, just hidden behind the easy image.
So summing this up then, full-time poker income. Yes, it's possible. You can potentially make a good living. But that freedom everyone imagines comes packaged with some pretty serious constraints: financial discipline, emotional control, endless study.
Yeah, the bottom line is you have to approach poker as a career, not a gamble. It needs the discipline, the budgeting, the continuous education of any high-stakes profession. But then you add this layer of extreme financial volatility and intense psychological pressure that most jobs just don't have. It really is a marathon, not a sprint. Strategy, discipline, resilience. Those are the real chips you're playing with.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to chew on. If making a living at poker requires the same or maybe even more discipline than a demanding 9 to 5 meticulous tracking, constant study, strict budgeting, managing these wild emotional swings, does that flexible schedule really remain the main appeal? Or does the constant financial and mental pressure just create a different kind of cage, maybe even a more restrictive one, in exchange for that independence? Something to think about.